Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your old pal CHH here today. So, change of plans tonight. Me and Sydney, my wife, had actually been doing something that I wasn't talking about on social media much, and it was actually her idea. She said, Christian, I want to rewatch every one of Rob Zombie's movies. I don't care that it's not Halloween time. I don't care, blah, 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 because a lot of his movies typically get watched during that time. She says, I just want to go through all of them. I really want to, you've been talking about the Halloween ones a lot, blah, blah, blah. I want to redo all of them. And so we did, and we actually finished it today, sooner rather than later. We weren't planning on being done with them, but we ended up binging them today. And so I figured it's time to re-rank the Rob Zombie films. This is something I really want to do. And she actually challenged my list, and we compared notes, and her list is a little bit different. I'll tell you one that she really likes at the end, but let's get started. And how about this? I'm actually going to start my list from the top to the bottom. Instead of going from the bottom to the top, let's go what I think is the best to his worst movie. So coming in at absolute number one is not Halloween or Halloween 2. His number one greatest film for me is, and may possibly always will be, House of a Thousand Corpses. This is the one for me, guys. I mean, I know Devil's Rejects is the fan favorite, but for me, House is everything I love about zombie style. To me, there's no question Captain Spaulding is at his absolute best. The opening scene at the gas station is hysterical. So many memories of me and my brother laughing at Captain Spaulding telling that guy to quit shoving paper towels down the damn toilet or I'm gonna put my boot up your ass. Them wearing the little monkey masks. And what I really loved was the final scene where we get to see Dr. Satan. To me, that was such a great finale. I think it's the best finale Zombie's ever had in one of his films. It just worked so... That's a hell of a finale. That is a finale for a movie. So the ending of House of 1,000 Corpses to me is peak Rob Zombie. We've got the professor taking his mask off and his skin's all weird and he's oozing out. It's just great. So absolutely without question, the House of 1,000 Corpses is and probably will always be my favorite Rob Zombie film. Okay, number two from the best of Rob Zombie is actually going to be Halloween 2 from 2009. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. God knows I've done podcasts with Nick on Unita for Halloween 2. I've talked individually on myself a number of times. I love this movie, and yes, it's a Halloween film, but it's also just this very unique film for me. I love Scout Taylor Compton giving this really harrowing performance of just dealing with crushing PTSD, and the performance from Brad Dourif to me is just, it's painful to watch when he finds his daughter in the bathroom. Halloween 2 is very, very mean, but it's also psychedelic, and it's something I just really love. Yes, I'll never say, oh, it's a good film, but it's not a good Halloween film, because the fact of the matter is, it's called Halloween 2, so you're damn right it's a Halloween film. But what I love about it is just, it's this movie that I love getting lost into, and I love taking that journey because it's so dark and psychedelic, and there's elements I just can't get enough of. And quite frankly, we all joke about Sherry Moon, but at least she got to do something cool for once in this movie where she's playing this ghost. You know, I mean, it's different for once. She's not just acting not so great. You know, she's doing something different. I'm not saying she's a bad actor, but she's not going to be at the Oscars or Golden Globes anytime soon. All right, number three for me, I couldn't believe this, but we loved this movie so much upon a rewatch. I think this is the one that if you maybe watching this will revisit it, you'll say to yourself, maybe there is something there. And number three for me is The Lords of Salem. This is the one and only time I really felt like Zombie had something to say, and he challenged himself. He talked about making this movie. He said instead of going bombastic and crazy, he purposely tried to slow everything down, make the dialogue way cleaner than he ever had before, although there are some shocking moments, especially with Sherry Moon in the church where she's having this nightmarish dream when the priest shows up. If you haven't seen it, watch it. But it's very, I don't know if anti-religious is the word, but it's playing into the Salem witch trials, and maybe there was some truth to this stuff back in the day. And I think it's a film that Zombie challenged himself with. He's never done anything remotely like it before or after. And oddly enough, that's the Blumhouse movie he made. But quite frankly, I think this is Sherry at her best in this film. I really do. I think Jeff Daniel Phillips is awesome as the aide, the supporting actor in this movie, and it just works. It's very bleak, it's very dry and dark. I am a big Lords of Salem fan, and it feels very, very 70s too, which just works on all accounts for me. So I'm actually going to say that the ending is ambiguous, and I would have a problem with that, but if you ask me, well, what should the ending be? I don't necessarily have an answer how you end this movie. So, quite frankly, maybe the ambiguous ending is the best way to go. That's up for you to decide as the viewer yourself, but personally, I think Lords of Salem is his most underrated movie. Alright, so coming in at number 4 is his 2007 Halloween film. Yeah, again, I don't feel like I need to spend much time on this. Me and Sydney enjoyed this film. I still enjoy this film. It's nowhere near as good as his Halloween 2, but the truth of the matter is, I still love watching this film. I think if you're going to replace Donald Pleasence with anybody, Malcolm McDowell is one actor that you really can't gawk at. It's like, okay, Malcolm McDowell, I'll hear you out. When I think of the Rob Zombie films, I think of one person, and that's Malcolm McDowell. For me, he makes these movies work, and I love, love, love him in the Rob Zombie Halloween films. I'm not saying he's as good as Donald Pleasence. He is, in fact, Dr. Loomis 1000%. But when I think of the Rob Zombie films, Malcolm McDowell is the man. And I liked him even more when Sean Clark posted those interviews that he did in 2007 back in the day. It's on his YouTube channel. McDowell's just a dude, you know. He's not some prim proper. He's just like, what's up? What's going on? Nah, I don't really like horror films. Like, he reminded me of Jamie Lee Curtis a bit, but he is just a freaking dude. I love Malcolm McDowell, but he makes these movies work big time for me. All right, we've got 3 movies left. We've got 3 from Hell. We've got 31. We've got The Munsters. Coming in next is not 3 from Hell. It's actually 31. And even though this is lower on the list, I actually almost wanted to put this... Sydney put this over Halloween and Lords of Salem. She loves 31. We've watched this movie. I've talked about this movie again on the podcast, on my channel, and whenever I talk about it, I'm a little dismissive about 31, but the truth of the matter is when I watch it, I have a good time. And I went and watched a bunch of reviews for this movie, and some of the consensus was, this movie is aimless, there's no plot, nothing makes sense, and for me, I like that about it. To me, this is pure, unadulterated junk food. I think I had an expression. 31 is basically like porn, you know, we're all dismissive about it, but the truth is, we all watch it. So in that case, like, for me, 31 just works, and I think it's like a video game almost. These people get captured, thrown into this pit, and they have to just fight off people that are coming to kill them. It's senseless, it's pointless, but it's junk food. And I think this is Richard Brake's coolest performance in the entire Rob Zombie filmography that he's been a part of, quite frankly. I love Doomhead. I love his opening scene. I actually think that part drags on just a little too long, quite frankly. But the first time watching, I thought it was the coolest thing. So 31, it's not great, don't get me wrong, but when you need junk food horror, 31 is easy to just throw right in and just get it. Alright, so coming in next, these are the last 2 guys. So this is the second to worst to me and the worst. Honestly, I gotta be honest, 3 from Hell has sunk lower and lower every time I've watched it. I mean, my brother actually told me after he watched it, he said, Christian, you know what would have been a better movie? I was like, what's that? The whole movie could have been them trying to break Sherry out of prison, and I would have thought that would have been way cooler. And I'll be honest with you, I absolutely agree with that. So I agree. I think 3 from Hell has just aged kind of like milk, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a great film anymore. It's quite honestly just sad. Now, Rob did talk on the Charles Band podcast. His intention was to make a film with Captain Spaulding being the star of the film alongside the other 2. But by the time things really started to happen, Sid Haig's health just completely deteriorated worse and worse and worse. So he had to completely redo the script at the literal last second and create the character of the Midnight Wolfman, which Richard Brake performed. So the whole movie was just ruined by Sid's health and having to do a new character. Richard Brake did fine, but let's be honest, when you think the Firefly family, you think Sid Haig. And the worst movie for me, this is kind of weird. I don't dislike this movie that much, but The Munsters, after rewatching it, I just feel like it's a movie I'll probably never want to rewatch again. I'll be honest with you. To me, the problem is Sherry. I really think this is her worst performance in the series. I just gotta be honest. I think everybody else in the film does fine, but she is clearly trying and acting to me, and it just comes off pretty poor. I think she should have played her character just relatively straight and let everybody else around her be animated. Then this movie wouldn't have been last. It would have been well over, possibly, definitely over 3 from Hell, maybe even 31 or the other ones. But she just, I like Sherry, I do, but to me, she just absolutely destroyed this film. She's acting, and she's clearly acting where she should have just taken a back seat and played her character straight and let everybody else around her be animated. So, yeah, Munsters has aged pretty poor on me, too, but what can you do? Maybe I'll change my mind down the road on that. I don't know. But that's my list of the Rob Zombie... That's me ranking the Rob Zombie films, guys. I'm totally interested in hearing where you guys are. I think this is going to be very interested, and my money says Devil Rejects is going to be at the top of a lot of people's lists, and I totally get that. But has any of the movies actually jumped up for you that you've revisited and said, no, that one's actually pretty good? Let me know, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name's Christian. This is Planet CHH. Please drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Thank you to all of my Patreon supporters who make videos like this possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you very much.